Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Brandon, your trusted realtor, and I want to come to you to say thank you for 80,000 views. And I know it's been a while since I've made a video, but it's super important for me to come back and say thank you to each and every last one of you that has watched my video, liked, shared, and got some value from the content. Now, today I want to dive into a subject that is near and dear, and really is a starting block for many individuals. It's credit, and it's really not your run of the mill conversation about credit. It is truly a conversation about credit as a bigger picture. And I want us to think about it a little bit bigger because it makes all the difference in your capacity and your ability to buy a home. Now, we want to think about credit and understand that there's a difference between repairing your credit and fixing your credit. That's an entirely different video. And if this video gets more than 1,000 likes, then I will definitely create a video delineating the two and ways that you can and strategies that you can take to fix those. But when we talk about specifically credit, I want to focus on time frames. I want to talk about specifically your unique credit issue and how approximately about how much time that will take or the impact it'll have on you as a buyer. Let's dive in. Now, when you're looking at, or if you are the kind of person who has no credit at all, that means you don't have a credit history, you don't have any credit cards, you've not had or established any level of credit, then you'll have to start at the beginning by building a reliable credit history. And that's going to start by getting some type of credit card, some type of secured credit card, so that way you can establish a credit history. Now, it doesn't work if you are going to be added onto someone's credit because that will make you an ineligible credit borrower because it's not your credit history that is being used or established, rather you're just benefiting from someone else's. Now, the time frame here can usually be between 3 to 6 months, as long as you maintain a positive payment history, and it can go as long as 12 months depending again on the type of lender. Late payments. Now, late payments, I look at late payments as the kiss of death when it comes to mortgage, trying to get a mortgage loan. Like, it puts me in the mind of rotted fruit. And I give you that kind of mental, visceral, physical description because that's what late payments do. They actually erode and destroy the integrity of the account that you created. Now, one of the key things a lender is looking for is that they're looking at a payment history, but namely how reliable are you when it comes to making these payments? And late payments tell the story. They tell the lender that you are not making payments on time, and there's a huge risk that you will not pay them back when it comes time for the mortgage loan to come due. So that's why this is, in my opinion, it is literally one of the kisses of death when it comes to getting a mortgage approval. Now, you're looking at a minimum of 6 months potentially, depending on the pattern of delinquencies, depending on the behavior that you've established. That's why late payments and the frequency and the number all can have a huge impact on whether you qualify for a mortgage or not. It also can artificially depress your mortgage score. So you could walk around with a 550 or a 600 or a 630. And the reason your score is so low is purely because of your payment history and not paying on time. Now, talk about types of credit. Not all types of credit are acceptable or worthy forms of credit that a lender is going to be looking at. A lender is going to be looking at a line of credit or a revolving credit history, but namely, they're going to be looking at something that has a payment history. Now, your credit card wouldn't be something that suffices, right? Or your rental payments would not be something that suffice as a type of payment. They're looking at that establish, again, like I said, lines of credit or revolving debt. They're not going to be looking at when they approve you for a mortgage loan, whether you pay alimony necessarily, or they're not going to be looking at whether you pay child care expenses, or that you have these luxurious lifestyle and you like to travel once or twice a quarter. They're not looking at that. They're looking at specific credit activities, which is also important and is a topic for another video, which is that there's some things a lender will look at and other things they will not, and that all helps in determining what your financial strategy needs to look like when you're buying a home. Now, when you're talking about types of credit or and the role that they play, we mentioned things like credit, like cell phones and rental payments. While those things do not count on your credit report, there's a program with Experian called Boost Alternative, and it is based on essentially your payment history of non-credit recorded items like cell phone payments and rent. Now, you would just shoot yourself in the foot if you got this program or enrolled in this program and you don't pay those things on time. You're just going to hurt yourself. But it is another option outside of purely credit cards or lines of credit that a lender can look at. Not all lenders accept it, but it is an option. Bankruptcy. Now, this is a big one that I've gotten a few questions about, and really, bankruptcy, the time frame that you can enter into getting a home after bankruptcy depends on the bankruptcy that you filed and the type of loan, and sometimes it depends on the lender. So, if you file like a Chapter 7 and you're 2 years away from the discharge or the dismissal date of that bankruptcy, then for FHA loan, you're about 2 years out. For a conventional loan, same scenario, you're 4 years away after the discharge date from the court. All of this is going to be predicated on what happens at the date of the court discharge or the dismissal of the bankruptcy. It does not count if there's a discharge date without a court established discharge date, and your time frame for calculation begins from that date. Now, this is also going to be a different time frame if you want to use the USDA loan. Also going to be a different time frame if you wanted to use a VA loan and you've had a bankruptcy. It's always important to consult with the lender and your professional who you partner with in this process. The next type of thing that can impact your credit is student loans. Now, make sure that you're paying on your student loans. There's just no way to get around this. Your lender wants to know that any type of debt that you have, and a student loan is a loan, it is a debt. It's fine that you have it. You have to have a plan for how you're going to manage it. And so the lender must see that you're making those payments on a recurring basis. Now, you might say, well, I'm super smart. I have an agreement to pay $0 to my particular lender. That's not going to be acceptable to a lender. You have to pay some dollars or some cents to that entity. And that's what a lender is going to be looking for, because they have to calculate that you're paying something. They can't put that you have a payment, a line of credit, and you're paying $0. That's just not how finances work. Logically for you, it might make sense, but you have to remember, you have to use your logic with your friends. This is guidance, and I need you to follow that guidance so that way you can get approved by the people with money. It's not me, it's them. They got the money. I'm just translating what has to be done. And so when you have student loans, you have to have a form of payment. Now, if it is a private student loan, then you can go through another process and try to renegotiate the payment through them or through some other type of entity. You can talk to me more, or to a lender that I can recommend to you who can navigate you through that. But you do have one or two other options, even if it's a private student loan. Now, finally, let's talk about debt load. When your lender is looking at you to qualify you, one of the primary numbers they're looking at is your debt to income ratio. Now, your debt to income ratio is going to be an evaluation of your total debt versus your total income. Now, you have to spend less money, pretty much less than 35%. Now, most lenders will differ and vary. Programs will vary. DC has a program, DC for Me, that would allow you to have a 50% debt to income ratio, right? It can be different, and that will impact the amount of money that you qualify for with the lender. So hopefully this has been super valuable for you, and you'll be able to take something away from it. Ideally, a strategy. Remember, at the end of the day, it all comes down to you and you taking the necessary activities and quite honestly making the necessary sacrifice in order to make the corrections and pivot accordingly. Hopefully this gives you some insight into what a lender is looking for and the time frame it's going to take depending on the impact of your current credit. Take care. I'll talk to you soon. And thank you again for 80,000 views. Take care. I'm your trusted realtor.